All right, for number 1 on our surface area shape, on our surface area worksheet, naming the figure, since I usually forget that, I'm going to go ahead and name it. This is going to be a cube because I can see each square is the exact same size. So now for my surface area, I have 1 cube, another same shape, same cube. So all of these are going to be the exact same shape, so I'm numbering them all 1. And I can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. And that is supposed to be a 1 there in the middle. All right, so I'm going to do shape 1 over here to the side. Write my formula, area equals length times width. So area equals. Now the problem is when I look at this shape, it doesn't have any numbers on it. So I'm going to need to count that out. I'm just going to pick this one at the end. And I'm going to start at the top and I'm going to count over. Remember, put your pen or your pencil on your starting point and then count over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 units going across the top. And then I'm going to go down the side as well. So let's see, my length is 5. And I'm going to count up and down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I get 5 units here as well. So my width is also 5. So for my area, I get 5 times 5, which is 25 units squared. So now that I have one of these, so this whole square right here is 25, but I don't have one square. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares. So you can do 25 plus 25 and do that 6 times, or I can just do times 6. And 25 times 6 is going to give me 150. So I get 150 units squared. All right, so that's my surface area. And again, my regular students that are in my lunch class is a really good thing to watch. If y'all can just come in and find a seat, please. Y'all coming from Ms. Holloway's room? Okay. Just come in and have a seat. You can get your math out to work on. I'm going over this worksheet, so if this looks familiar, it might be something to watch and pay attention to. Jose, was that what you were telling me they were coming in? Okay, thank you. Perfect. And thank you for raising your hand without calling out. All right. So for number 2, again, I'm going to name the figure because I always forget that. Number 2, it's all rectangles. Guys, if it is all rectangles, there's no way it can make a little point at the top, so it can't be a pyramid. It has to be a prism. The only thing there is rectangles, so it has to be rectangular. So I'm going to do a rectangular prism. All right, and now I'm going to start worrying about my surface area. So again, I like to go ahead and number my shapes that match. So like I'll start with this one on the side. That's obviously one rectangle. And I can see this other one sticking out on the side is another rectangle that both have 5 and 3.1. So those are going to match. All right, then I have a small skinny rectangle going across. So I'll number that 2. And my other small skinny rectangle will also be 2. And then I have the larger one that I can number 3. So even though they're all rectangles, I do have 3 different types of rectangles. I'm going to start with my shape 1. I'm going to come over here so I have some space. So shape 1, area equals length times width. So area equals. Looking at this, I have 5 times 3.1 as my length and my width. So 5 and 3.1. If you wrote those the other direction, that is absolutely fine. 5 times 3.1 should be 15.5. Looking at y'all to see if y'all are checking me on that. Okay, thank you. Centimeters squared. All right, so now I'll do shape 2. All right, which, again, it's a rectangle. Area equals length times width. All right, my folks coming in, you'll obviously have Miss Donahue or Miss Willis because I don't recognize you. I know y'all set up y'all's work a little bit differently. That's fine. This is another option if you like it. You are welcome to use it. But I know they do their work definitely differently than I do. So A equals. So when I look at shape 2, so here's shape 2. I see that I have 7.4 and 3.1 again. So I have 7.4, comma, and then 3.1, not comma, but 7.4 times 3.1. So area equals 7.4 times 3.1. So I don't have to type this in my calculator. Does anyone work that out? Kamari? 22.94. Thank you. And that's centimeters squared. All right, and then last but not least, I have shape 3, which all of a sudden I decided to circle, so there we go. Area equals length times width. So I have shape 3 down here, and if I look at the bottom, there are no numbers attached. So I know I need to know this dotted line going across, which would match up on the top, which said 7.4. So I know I have 7.4 there. And then I need this dotted line going up and down, which I know has to match this rectangle on the far side, which said 5. So I know that one has to be 5. So I can do area equals 7.4 times 5, or the other way around is fine. So area equals 7.4 times 5. Chris? Just 37 centimeters squared. All right, so now I have my 1 shape, my 2 shape, and my 3 shape. So now I need to add them all up. So I'm going to do, starting with 1, 15.5. Now there wasn't just one number 1, there were 2 of them. So I'm going to write 15.5 twice. Then I have shape 2, which is 22.94. Again, I don't just have it once, I have it twice. So I'm going to write that one twice. I'm sorry, I'm writing a little small because I didn't give myself enough room. And then shape 3, again, I have it 2 times on here, so I'm going to write 37 twice. So when I add those up, what do I get when I add up my surface, my areas for my final surface area, Cooper? 150.88. And make sure we put our centimeters squared on that. I'm going to make sure to box that around, and that is my final surface area. I just did not save myself enough room for the work. All right. Moving down to number 3. Number 3, we have our shape is a triangular prism. Triangular prism. And this one should look familiar. We did a problem like this in our math workshop today. All right, so when I number this, I have my shape in the center. So there's my rectangle in the center, which is the 7.8 and 8.2. When I look at the 2 on the top and the bottom, those 2 rectangles, they look smaller. And if I look at that triangle that's going to fold together, I can tell that they are smaller because this side is not 7.8, but it's going to be folded together to give me a 5.4. So this is going to be a completely separate shape here. All right, and then my last one is going to be those triangles. Y'all know I like to leave my triangles for last. All right, so again, starting with shape 1. Over to the side, shape 1 is A equals LW, A equals. Shape 1 is that one in the center. So I have 8.2 times 7.8. So 8.2 times 7.8. All right, so A equals 8.2 times 7.8. What are we looking for there, Chris? What do we get as our answer there? Make sure you put in the decimals. Make sure we have 8.2 and 7.8. I think you forgot your decimals. Frank? 79.54. All right, centimeters squared. All right, and then shape 2, I have again A equals LW because it's still the rectangle. But this time my length and width are going to be, and you can see I wrote it on this one. Remember, it folds together, so be careful with that. I get 8.2 times 5.4. So A equals, making sure we remember those decimals. What do I get when I multiply those 2 numbers? Cooper, you got that? 8.2 times 5.4?
I got a different answer. I got 63.96.
Up on the 8 times 7?
8.2.
Yeah.
8.2 times 7.8. What did we get, Micah?
You get 41. No, for the bottom. The bottom one is 41. Number 2 is 41. The top one is 63.96.
63.96, and that's what Cooper had said as well. So 63.96 centimeters squared. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, there we go. Is that good now? Frank, double check me on that too, okay? And then on the bottom, 8.2 times 5.4 gives me just 41 centimeters squared. And then my last shape, area equals base times height divided by 2. So area equals the base and the height of this triangle. So we got to be really careful here. Here's my 7.8. That's clearly the bottom. That's what's attached to the rectangle. So I have 7.8 as the base. And then my height was right here going up and down, which it said, and I kind of covered up with some of my work, but it says that height is 9.7, and then we have to divide by 2. All right, so we have to be really, really careful now. So 7.8 times 9.7 divided by 2. Micah? 37.83 centimeters squared. All right, so I've done the hard part. Now I'm ready to just add them up and carefully type them into my calculator. So shape 1 is there only once in the middle. So that gives me 63.96, and you can tell I'm making sure to leave plenty of space this time. Shape 2, I have 2 of them on the top and on the bottom.
For shape 2, it's actually 44.28.
44.28?
I mistyped it. I put
Okay.
8.2 times 5 points.
All right, I'm going to have to get my own calculator out, guys. Y'all make me a little nervous here. So I got 44.28 is the actual correct one. Frank? Thank you. Let me finish this one problem up real quick. So we're going to add up our 44.28, and then I have 2 triangles, so that gives me 37.83 twice. Let's see if someone can type this in correctly and get me a final answer. Adding up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shapes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. Hopefully those numbers are correct now. Collier?
I got
228.18. Can I get a confirmation from someone to make sure that we are correct? I got a thumbs up back here. Okay, you don't even have your calculator on your desk, so I don't trust your thumbs up that you're trying to give me. All right. All right. Okay. All right, so we're going to go with 228.18. We're going to do the last one when we get back from lunch, and I'll continue recording the video. All right, so looking at number 4, we have another rectangular prism that we're looking at here, since it's all rectangles. All right, so now looking at my shapes here, so I can have that top and bottom shape that are obviously matching, and then I have my 2 skinny rectangles and my 2 larger rectangles. All right, so starting with shape 1, I have area equals length times width. So area equals with shape 1. I know I have the 2 here going up and down, and then it shows down on the bottom the 3 going straight across. So when I put those together, that gives my length up and down and my width side to side. So I have 2 times 3. So area is 6 centimeters squared. For shape 2, again, it's a rectangle. Area equals length times width. Area equals. So on shape 2, this one gets a little bit trickier because I don't have either of the measurements on the shape specifically. So I know I'm going from top to bottom here, which has to match the top to bottom that's on that far side. So this has to be 6 centimeters. On this rectangle, if I look at that rectangle over here, I can see the 2 is pointing. And remember, this is where that folds together. So that's kind of like my folding line. So I'm going to have a 2 on this top the skinny part. And of course, it would match on this side as well, and those would fold together. So I'm using my 6 for the long part and 2 for the short part. So my area equals 12 centimeters squared. And then for shape 3, area equals length times width. So area equals, on shape 3, it's the larger rectangle. So I can see that obviously we're going to have 6 is that long length. So I have 6. And then the part telling me how wide it is, I can see over here on the side we have 3 here, which also matches the 3 in the center. So I have 6 times 3. So my area here is going to be 18 centimeters squared. So now I'm ready to add them up. Again, I have 2 number 1, so I'm going to do 6 and 6. I have 2 number 2, so I'm going to have 12 and 12. And then I have 2 number 3, so I'm going to have 18 twice as well. When I add all of those up, what am I going to get as my answer for number 4? Oh, Micah? 72 centimeters squared. Do we all agree? Making sure we verify that. All right. All right, so now flipping onto the back, we only have 2 shapes left. All right. So on the back, when I'm looking at this shape, and I just realized that this is showing up still in the way. There we go. All right, so naming the figure. So we have all those triangles going around that are going to make a point. So that gives me my square, since it's a square in the center, and it's a pyramid. All right, so I have a square pyramid there. And then I'm going to look at my area. So let's label these as shape 1. And then my shape 2 is going all the way around. All right, and I'm going to have to pause again for just 1 minute. All right, so going on with shape 1. So I'm going to label shape 1 over here on the side. My formula says A equals LW because a square is just a special type of rectangle. And I can see clearly in this square, it is a square because it's 15 and 15. So my measurements match. Length is 15, width is 15. When I multiply 15 times 15, what do I get for my area? Emma?
225 centimeters.
Perfect, 225 centimeters squared. All right, and then shape 2, area equals, it's a triangle, so make sure we do base times height divided by 2. Please make sure you're only doing base times height divided by 2 on your triangles. So area equals, if I look at this triangle, the base is on the square, so that's obviously going to match my squares, which was 15. The height is going up and down, so I'm looking at 13 divided by 2. 15 times 13 divided by 2. What do I get for that one, Emma? 97.5 centimeters squared. Do we agree with that? All right. So now I'm going to add those up. So I have shape 1. It's only there once, so I'm going to do 225. And then shape 2, I have 4 triangles that are all matching. So I'm going to do 97.5, and I'm going to write that out 4 times. All right. Once I add all of that up, what do I get as my surface area when I add those all together? Kelsey? Say that again. 615 centimeters squared. All right, the last one. And guys, I've seen a lot of people that's drawn out a picture for this, which you can. But if I know it's a cube, the special thing about a cube is every single side is the same. And every single measurement is the same. So if I know one side is area equals length times width, area equals 20 times 20, which gives me 400 centimeters squared. So that's one side of my cube. Now again, we're picturing that cube in our head, which we actually did a cube in number 1, so that's a good place to look. But we know that cube has 6 different sides. We have the top, the bottom, the front, the back, and the left and the right. So I'm just going to do times 6 because there are 6 sides on a cube. So 400 times 6 is going to give me 2,400 centimeters squared. And I was able to do that without a picture. Did I still write my formula? Did I still show my numbers? I still showed what one side is, and then I multiplied it by 6, and I even wrote in there because there are 6 sides on that shape. All right? So hopefully that is helpful to the people that are in the advanced classes. This is basically, guys, if you can solve each of those, the back of the test on Friday should be easy because that's your 5 problems on the back, just like that.